Okay, let's look at two example projects, this classifier and this appraisal host one. We'll start with the appraisal host because it's the same workbook that we've been working on earlier in the part one of this video. All right, so home sheet, ribbon, let's go kind of fast here. So this is looking at the units of one property. So we can go like 4, property number 4, property number 5. You see how it just updates? This is how you can sort of string together like beautiful presentation for what you need to show in your reports or to your clients or whatever. It's the end result of the work you do, scaffolding and sort of building your architecture. You know, this is how it manifests at the end. This is like a little quality control thing here. It's saying, hey, according to the web, there's, you know, this much total units. There's 123. So if we sum this column up, we expect this to add up to the same thing that whatever the web says is there. Okay? Pause for a sec. Next, let's look here at comps. So here I just wanted you to see like the hide rows. The way that works under the hood is that inspect ranges. So there's a range here and there's a range here. Hide range rows comps, and then this one's like hide range columns. I'm happy to work with you and adjust it however you need. Like I think in this case, what we actually want to see, this would be used, the column hide would be used in a case where you sometimes have uncertainty. So say like a project can have either, you know, one, I guess it could never have one comp, maybe like 5 comps to 12 comps. So sometimes you'll have a table where it's like comp 2, comp 3, comp 4, you know, and it'll just be going off like this into right field, and so you want to be able to basically have the ones that you want to have your tables automatically like cinch up and hide the rows when you have fewer comps and expand when there's more. So that's the point of the hide rows. Up here in the hide patterns, we can execute it for every single. I shouldn't have closed that message box. Every single hide row in the whole workbook, or we can just do it on one worksheet. Under the hood, you know, this is just saying call toggle hides by sheet, and because we're on a worksheet right now, it says you just pass me, and then it'll only do it for this worksheet, and it won't throw that message box. Okay. Distance to subject, that's another cool one. Like, you know, it just uses latitude and longitude. You give it a lat long for a start point and a lat long for an end point, and it will give you the crow fly distance in between. That's a great example of a formula column that is rasterized. So it on the local sheet for the property model, there's a formula in the top data cell, and at import time or whatever, when the import is done, I just call, you know, there's a db.rasterize formulas, and I do it. Or I think actually it just calls db.sort afterwards, and the sort does it for me. In any case, it can't change. Latitude and longitude are controlled in the remote source. So there's no reason to be calculating that value in the workbook over and over and over again. All we need to do is calculate it at the one point it could change, which is at import time. There's actually one other point it can change, which is when you change the subject property. So like distance to subject, you know, if we change like this guy to be the subject, all the distances are gonna change. But that is outside the scope of this discussion. But not to say that is not easy to handle, because it is pretty straightforward. All right, last thing, second to last thing here. This is all built once again with UDFs and looking at this is built on the foundation of the stuff I've been showing you. And let's see, I want to generate the rent profile. So in the final report, we need to have, like, for the subject and every comp, we need to make this table. All right, so I'm going to hit this button. It's going to say what it's going to do. Yes, I want to do it. And now you can see it's just like systematically creating all of the tables for us. I'm going to hit control page up or whatever, and we can go through them. These red images is just because I don't have an image in the database for that property. It takes a lot of time to make fake data. Okay, so from here you could then take these and inject them into a Word document, like whatever you want to do. You want to look for things that you're doing all the time, like busy work, and just slowly chip away at them. Somebody, selling commercial software, they got to do like the whole enchilada. First of all, they have no idea how you want to present your data. They might have a guess, but they don't know for sure. But they have to deliver a whole product. See, you can work incrementally over time. You can automate one thing, you get feedback on it, your colleague's like, well, can you do this, that, whatever, and you can just continuously iterate, and the software just keeps getting better and better and better with each pass. And you're cutting out the whole usual development cycle where it's like, you got to go to the programmer, you got to write the specs, he's got to mess it up, then you got to tell him how he messed it up. Like, all of that is cut out because your mind already has the single most important part, which is the domain of how your business works. That's what's really killing software engineers is like, they'll be like, well, I could go so fast and I could do this. It's like, sure, you can go really fast if you knew where you were going, but they don't know where they're going next. They don't have the vision to your business. I don't have the vision into your business either, which is why I created a system that lets you drive the car, so to speak. All right, the only other thing I wanted to show you on this one is this import. So in the example project, I just hard-coded the property IDs for like 9 properties in Bastrop, Texas. But that wouldn't work in a production setting. So the way it works is that you have on this web app, you can save a comp list. So you'll be in the web app, you'll go to the map view, you'll look at where your subject property is, and you'll grab some properties in that area. I would just say take a whole region, diameter, in a really dense place like the Bronx, it'd be a small diameter. Out in the country, it'd be like a really wide diameter because there's just not as much properties in the country. Anyways, you save them as a comp list, and then you can double click and you can get, you can import those records. So that's the pattern that you can use there. Again, I will help you at no charge to get you going and figure out how to, how to structure this. Like I'll help you as much as I can. If you're one of my first users, I'll give you my signal so you can just message me. And if you're thinking like, why would I do that? It's like, because the single most important thing to me is that you succeed. Because if you succeed, your company will get one of those corporate plans for $75 a month or whatever I have it at, and I feel like that'll be the best way. That'll be the best way to survive. So my number one goal is for you to be successful, and I will help you any way I can. All right. I don't think I forgot anything here. Patterns, imports. That's looking good. All right, I'm gonna stop it here, and then we'll look at the other project. Okay, last thing. Let's look at this classifier model. So this is the one that takes business expenses and uses ChatGPT or whatever LLM you want to classify them into predefined categories. So I built this project end to end. I went step by step. I showed everything that I did. I explained reasoning behind things, and I did a lot of basic fundamental stuff about variables, like how things work. So I started off when I was making this video, and I was planning just right into the models with the dot operator, but right away when I sat down, I was like, I had to stop, like, it'd be pretty cool if we could get into this context menu, which we did, and classify the expenses through here. So you could just like literally highlight any cells you want and just instantly classify the expenses. Now, I don't think that's actually how you would do this in production, but it was a really cool exercise and I wanted to do it. So, I'm telling you this to emphasize that the riverbend principle is really powerful. So if you just get in there and just get some data and sit in your chair, instantly ideas will start coming to you. It's much better to take action and do something and just trust the inspiration will come. Don't sit there and wait, years and years for inspiration, because it's backwards. That would be doing it backwards. Anyway, so let's go ahead and we'll look at this, just how it works. AI hacking, classify expenses. it's in the background working. Okay, so it's just telling you like how much it costs, tokens, whatever. And then there's our categories. So like T-Mobile business plan, that goes to phone. Okay, good spot to pause. So after we did that, or after I did that, the next thing that I tried to get back onto the course of what I actually wanted to do, which is just like write into through the dot operator and get it to have a model for business expense, and be able to have. So this is the remote fields. This is like from our expense system that you export some CSV or you connect, however. And the local fields, follow-up question and cost category, those are the ones that ChatGPT is going to put its response in. Originally, I just had cost category in there. See how it's custom validated? That's to these lists right here. But then as I was working on it, I was like, well, geez, what if it doesn't know the cost category? Or what if there's something that's unclear or there's a problem? I need to give the model some sort of like pressure relief valve. So I came up with a follow-up question. So in cases where the chatbot decides it doesn't know, it puts it to needs context, which is down here. It chooses that category, and then it'll provide a follow-up question. Like it'll explain why it thinks it's unclear or which ones it could be. If you don't give the chatbot like a pressure relief valve for cases where it's unsure, it will just confidently decide. Okay, so let's import some data. We set up a shortcut in this one, Control-Shift-I. I need the path to some data. All right, cool. 101 records created. Now we're not grayed out. This is just dummy data. Once again, I asked, ChatGPT to give me some fake data as well. So if we click on this, here are the remote fields. They're from the expense system. We can't change them. Look at how gnarly the ID is. And then I can change, Stripe transaction fee. I mean, look, you put it to whatever, merchant fees, save. Okay. Now I just classified that one. Let's get rid of that classification, or I guess I can leave it. Here was like our status. So we've got 1 is classified, 101 are total, and 100 are remaining to go. We're 1% done. I'm going to click this classify next 10 expenses. And it will go. And now under the hood, it is doing exactly that thing that I mentioned. Where it's offering it a prompt with the follow-up question. I don't know why it struggled so much with that one. It got them. Let's try another one. Let's see if it's faster on this go. A little faster. I don't remember it being that slow, but in any case, obviously we wouldn't do 10 at a time. We'd probably do like more, like a bulk amount of them. So it's getting them all without question right now. But if we try to make one that's like really unclear, like, I don't know, let's see. Let's go to the description. Let's find one, see where we are. We're like here on, let's just go to an Uber one that's like down here a little bit. I think it's this guy. All right, let's change this to like bicycle repair. Let's make sure that that's within like the next 10 or whatever. Did I spell that right? Yeah, there it is. Let's just do it. So bicycle repair is unclear, right? It should be like, I think I can see it. Was this a business or personal? So let's go ahead and go. Let's go take a look. Cool, there's actually two were flagged. So bicycle repair and domain renewal. the chatbot decided that both of these were not clear. So it says needs context, and it asks, is this business related, repair, or personal? So in this way, we can sort of run a pass over it, and then we can filter down to, you know, just the ones that need review. Underscore. Status needs review. And see the ones that are failing. We can even have a list view that only passes in those records. So we have a button and we click on it and it opens it. And we don't have to even do the filter. It's only going to show the ones with problems. All right, let me pause there. Okay, so another river bend thing that happened when I was working on this project is that I noticed that like I wanted to see the prompt. Like I was trying to get the prompt right. So, and this will help you understand how this is actually doing what it does. And so we created a setting called Intercept AI Prompts. You know, this is just sitting here on the setting registry, another one of those artifacts. Whatever data validation we put in here will transmit, propagate, and become choices here. So if I turn prompt interceptor to true, instead of just firing the prompt like it did, it's going to open up this prompt interceptor. So it's like stopping right in the middle. It's showing me the final prompt and I can look at it. You know, it's saying you are a financial assistant, blah, 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 blah. These expense line items, Hertz rental car, restaurant, dinner with investors, it's taking that context and dropping it into the prompt. And then I can either fire the prompt right here, and then it'll just go and do what it was going to do. But I'll show you what we can do instead. This is the playlist where I built this project. I can just paste the prompt here. I can get back the response. That's a JSON. JSON is just text in a special format. I can paste it here. And then I can launch the code from the response. So, my video is covering it up, huh? I'm going to click this yellow button, but you might not be able to see it because I want you to see right here instead. Just wants to make sure it's okay. There they go. Another thing, like Riverbend, as I was working on this, like the way it works is like one function makes the prompt for you. And then when the chatbot gives back its answer, that JSON, you have another function called the callback that takes the chatbot's response and does something with it. And that's the one that's pasting it here. So if I click this paste answers adjacent right, hold on, please hold on. It'll ask me like, do I want to go look there? Yes. So it'll take me like right to the function paste answers adjacent right, aptly named. Dude, so the whole notion of prompt interceptor, the notion of going to have a little text that you can click to fly straight to the function, I didn't know any of that going into this project. And it's like by the time I was done, it's like I can't stop because it's like there's so many different cool things that kept coming into my head. But you know, eventually you have to ship. All right, that's prompt interceptor. Let me pause for one more second. Okay, there's one more thing I want you to see here, and that is these, like you can customize the generic edit view and the generic list view. So for prompt, you know, let's see, no, let's go to, not to prompt, we'll just go to business expense. See this follow-up question, the text box is, you know, it's larger because it's a text field. You know, these are care fields, so they're smaller. But this would be way too small for our prompt. So for the prompt, you know, we made this big, huge form, and we built this form from scratch in the expense classifier playlist on my YouTube channel, and because the generic just wasn't going to do it. A generic edit was like this model needed more than that, and we tied it in. So like on the generic list view, you know, it doesn't take us. You see that? This is the generic list view, and I'm double clicking, but it's not taking me to that standard cookie cutter edit view. It's taking me to like a really nice one that we tailorized, customized to our needs. And so that's a customized generic edit view. And then there's also, I think I maybe flashed into this a couple times. It's under here, under advanced shortcuts, Control Shift J. It just, this is tracking all the worksheets in the workbook. And every time you add or remove a worksheet, like behind the hoods, it's actually like updating that sheet info model. So it corresponds to this guy. This is like the generic list view that just comes with the system, and then this is, you know, the nicer one, or the one that's more tailored to what we needed. So like being able to create groups. So like if you want to have like a certain task that you do, and there's 7 worksheets that you need, and then another task has like 4 sheets, you can create sheet groups, and then just have a button or a shortcut that instantly hides all the sheets except for that group. So I just wanted you to see overriding the generics, and also emphasize that you can build your own user forms completely from scratch, and that is not, there really isn't much to it. Like the code that's sitting behind this, you know, I don't know. There's just not much there. And then for, you know, you can just drag and drop these guys around, buttons. It's really just like a worksheet. It's just another canvas for you to paint on. This is to cycle through. There's only 2 prompts. Okay, open in Notepad. All this stuff, you know, we built out. That's a good spot. Pause. So notice that like I have not talked a lot about AI at all. I just feel like I'm drowning in it. I do think that it's really useful, and I want to tell you what I think about it, because this project uses it. And I see AI as like a bottled intelligence, okay? And it absolutely, like, it is a game changer, but I reject the notion of that AI should be used as like, build me my entire app, you know? Like, just think it and the app will build. I saw an advertisement for that the other day. I just think that's crazy. And a lot of the value will come from you having a mental model for how things actually work. And then you're meeting the model in the middle. Whereas I feel like what the, you know, AI marketing people are pushing is they want you to be farther away from the machine. They want you to you don't have to know anything at all. And I disagree. I think that the machine is now rising up to, you know, the human level, closer to the human level, but that you shouldn't be going up even higher. You should just come down a little bit. And that when you have that overlap of just a little bit of knowledge about how the systems and code go together, really systems is what you're building here. You're thinking through the models and the system, that you get, that's where we get like explosive software will get created. So I don't think you should be running away from code. I think that you should be going down towards the code and meeting the chatbot in the middle. So the 2 main use cases is concentrated bursts. So you just saw when we did, like, you know, we gave it however many expenses and it classified them. I would call that a concentrated burst. And I think that it's very important that when the chatbot responds back with those expense categories, that we can layer validation on top of that. So, you know, maybe we have something that like an admin expense can't be over, you know, $1,000 or something. You know, we have certain rules and tests that we can apply that are deterministic, meaning that they'll be applied the same every time. I don't exactly know what the chatbot, it might give me a different answer tomorrow if I asked it, you know, to categorize an expense. But we can layer on these fixed rules on top as like a layer to make sure that the chatbot answers make sense. So not only are we looking at it, but we also have this system, the validation, which you've seen, you know, a bazillion times now, that's sort of checking everything to make sure that it makes sense. And every time that you run into something that doesn't make sense, rather than like go on some T drive and like update some instructions for like a new hire of like, make sure to check for this. I mean, maybe you do that, but you can add a validation rule. So when something happens or when a mistake happens, you can respond to that by just adding validation. And then when they hit the validate button, it's going to run those checks. So the other main use case is to help you coding. So I had an example here. Just get this was a prompt that I sent to ChatGPT. Like, I just can't remember whatever it was. I don't have the function here. I don't have its answer, but this is what I gave it. It's like, I'll sketch out what I want. I'll show it, like, look, this is what effective rent date. It gives back a date. I'll tell it that it can't be null. And then I'll tell it what I want, like days ago surveyed, and the return type is long. Long is like a number that's not a decimal. So just from this syntax, or what I've given it here, it'll give me back something small that I can use. Looks exactly like the one that it gave me, in the project we just built. And that is a good use. It's also very focused. Notice I sketched the boundary. I made, I'm the one deciding the architecture. I just needed to sort of fill in the gaps with some little syntax for me. And I'll go learn something too. I'll usually ask it, like, I think I asked it some questions, like, what are the other intervals besides D? Give me a website, I want to reference that. And then I learn something, and next time I know it. But this is, I think, a good use of AI. A bad use of AI is like, build me this entire app that I just, I'm thinking of. And I think it shortcuts the Riverbend principle a little bit. Like, when you're building and doing it, you start to have ideas, the swim to the Riverbend. But when it's like, I guess I can't say that completely, because, if the chatbot is, you're vibe coding it and the app is changing, you would probably have ideas. All right, finally, like, we skipped a ton of stuff. Like, I can't possibly cover, this whole, like, terminal, like, you can click help, it'll tell you some of this stuff. But, like, discover shortcuts, this is tell you, like, these are all the shortcuts, Control-Shift-B, N, D, whatever. These are add-in defined ones that I've created, and these are the 3 host ones in this current host workbook. But, at the end of the day, logging, fixtures, the refactoring tool, progress bar, there's a great progress bar, it's super easy to use. I even had the demo set up for that, but I'm gonna let it slide. Let me leave you with this thought. Warehouse bathroom. Does anybody care about the paint job in a warehouse bathroom? I think the answer is no. Like, you care that it's like a strong, high flow toilet or whatever, but nobody cares what the paint job looks like in a warehouse bathroom. And I think that we build software today, like, the world doesn't need a fancy super JavaScript, hyper-enabled, like, travel booking website. Like, we're saturated with that stuff. We need more software that's like a warehouse bathroom that's custom built to, like, do whatever it is you're doing at your job, And that will have a lot of commercial value, and it will help you and your company, like, become more productive. And it will help you in particular build these mental models that you can then take with you wherever you go. So I guess I see AI as like a, like a power socket in the wall. Like, I don't want the software to, like, have all this opinions about AI, and, like, sort of have everything sort of channeled up for me. I just want a socket in the wall that I can plug in. Whether I plug in a toaster or a blender or a disco ball is really none of your business. Like, I just want to make sure that I'm wired and that I have the capability to use that bottled intelligence. So this is all about building industrial software. And I guarantee you, like, people will not complain about the color of your buttons as long as when they click the button, it does something that helps them. And you can always improve your colors over time. And if anybody, like, I'm really open to changing any of the stuff, that you see in terms of the style or especially usability, for, like, when you're in one of the add-in user forms, like, and you hit tab and it moves over the buttons. Like, if you're someone that doesn't want to touch the mouse, and you're like, dude, this would be way easier if, the tab index was changed. I will change the tab index for you. Or if you use accelerator keys. I didn't put any accelerator keys in the add-ins forms. Like, none of these, there are no accelerator keys, but I would be happy to put those in. And I probably will, even if nobody asks for them. In any case, I think that software should be always under construction. So everybody knows, like, a certain highway or an airport where it's like the construction never ends, right? The cones never go away. That's how I think that software should be. People are always asking, when you work in software, when will it be done? When will it be ready? And it's like, what does that even mean, Okay, so I hope you enjoyed these videos. I hope that they help you. And if you want to get the add-in or talk to me, just come to this website. You can contact me down here. The how to start page, like walk you through, how to get going. And if you read the pricing page, you can basically pay for 1 month and then get it for free. I hope that you'll go for a few months. And if you go for some number of months, like 4 or 5 months or whatever, I will just comp you. I will make it formally free for you. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm gonna stop talking now. Thank you and have a great day.